I've used technical analysis to grow my account 600% in 2025. And I'm here to tell you today how you're using MACD wrong. And in the next couple minutes, I'm going to save you years of trial and error on how to properly use the MACD to identify the best setups and make tons of money. So let's jump in. Now, when we look at the MACD, for those of you that are not familiar, the MACD is an indicator line that you can add to your charts. And a quick summary is it tracks the moving averages. So it stands for moving average convergence divergence. So at the bottom here, you'll see an example of a MACD. And when the MACD line crosses over the signal line like this, curls up, you have a typically bullish setup. Now, when price gets too extended and the MACD crosses back under the signal line, you have a bearish crossover and you can expect some bearish price action. This is a decent indicator, but it's never something you want to use on its own. Typically, what investors and traders are doing is they're looking for these bullish crossovers. And that's a decent indicator, but we're going to learn how to both pair this with other indicators and find out that there's actually a much better way to use the MACD for better signals. So first of all, what is the best way to use the MACD? And that's by looking for bullish and bearish divergences in the MACD. So looking at this graphic that we have here, you'll see that at the very top we have price, and at the bottom we have the indicator, that's the MACD. And for those of you that are familiar with RSI, these principles apply to RSI as well. So you can take this chart and copy it and use it for RSI. But what we're looking for is where price is making a different pattern than the MACD is. So what does that look like in practice? Where can we find an example of a lower low and a higher low on the MACD, or an equal low and a higher low on the price? So one example we have is Trox. This is Tronics Holdings. There's a lot of stuff on this chart because this is something that I currently own. But we're going to see a couple examples on this weekly chart of some MACD divergence. So when you look at price here, we have price coming into the support level of $2 and you have a MACD crossover. Now that's a really great opportunity for you to buy if you're using a crossover strategy. But what you'll notice is that here, the MACD crosses over again while price is at that low. The reason that this price extends so significantly is that we have this MACD divergence that indicates a bunch of strength. So let's go back to our MACD image here and see that we have pretty much an equal low in price, but we have a higher low in the MACD. I wouldn't put too much stock into finding a strong, medium, weak, or hidden. When you're able to find these divergences, it's good. So don't discount a weak or a medium setup. That's kind of a detail that's not super important. So again, here we have that similar price low, as you notice here, looks like about $4. So we have equal lows, and then we have a much higher MACD crossover. So we have a big divergence here. So again, we can look at it. The same thing happens here. We have a crossover, and then later on, we actually have a lower price and we have a higher MACD. So going back to our setup here, we have a lower price, we have a higher MACD, so we have a strong bullish divergence happening here. And again, that's when it goes on this big run. So had you used the crossover here, you could have made some good money. You could have gone from, looks like about $6 to $15. But here, when you have that full crossover and divergence, you're able to go from $4 to about $25, a huge win there. So one of the reasons I own this stock right now is because when you look at the divergence here, going back to, looks like late 2022, we have a higher price and a crossover. come to current day, we have a lower price with a pretty much equal crossover. So again, going back to our divergence chart, we have a lower price with an equal low. Now that's considered a weak bullish divergence, but I still love the setup. Again, don't put a bunch of stock into whether it's a strong, medium, or weak. Now, same thing, we're going to go over to Victoria's Secret and look at this on the daily chart because this is going to be super apparent here. Again, we have price coming down into our support zone, and we have this crossover that's occurring right here, right at support, right at about $15. And then price chops around for a little bit, comes back down. And then right here, we have another crossover. So what are we seeing here? We have a pretty much equal price, relatively equal, but we have a much higher MACD divergence, a much higher MACD line. And that's what allows this to go on its big run. So a lot of people will enter on this first cross. It's not a terrible strategy. But when you're really looking for confirmation, when you really want to get in at the right time, you're looking for this second cross where it's actually showing divergence. So hopefully that helps with the setups. And another thing I want to add here is, as part of the Bison Blueprint, the number one thing we're looking for always is that we're buying at support. So there's going to be a bunch of MACD crosses. They're going to happen all over the board, but you really want to pair this with support levels so that you're getting the best price. If you're buying a MACD cross up here, it might not turn out well for you because you're really getting, as the RSI indicates at the bottom, you're getting a little bit overcooked. So when you're able to pair this with both a support level, and we have a pretty obvious change in character here. So breaking this trend line, coming in, retesting, MACD cross. We have three major signals firing at one time. And that's what allowed Victoria's Secret to go on this pretty epic run from $13 to $66.89 in less than a year. So if you're new to technical analysis, this is a really powerful indicator. And I encourage everybody that's using MACD crossovers to start to explore MACD divergences because when you pair those two together, they're much more powerful and it's a much more reliable signal. So hopefully this is helpful. If you want to learn how to find big setups like this, 2x, 3x, 10x stocks, come join us in our community. There's a link in the bio below where you can come and join us for a free 7-day trial. We're on Discord. We've got a great community on there where we're sharing our stock picks. We're discussing the stocks that you're looking at. We're doing live trading every week. There's educational opportunities like this. So we hope to see you soon in the Discord.